Hi, I'm Krista Brisky-Richard with the Chicago Park District, and welcome to the 8th season of Night Out in the Park's Cultural Event Series. This year's presentation of cultural experiences will undoubtedly be one to remember, but equally as exceptional as all the rest. For the first time in history of this outdoor arts and culture initiative, we're taking live performances and entertainment from our neighborhood parks into your home. Join us virtually as we travel across the city to enjoy rich cultural performances by some of our city's most talented artists. More than 40 of Chicago's very own arts partners from diverse disciplines will present works, available for you and your family to watch on demand from the comfort of your own home. Thanks to Mayor Lori Lightfoot and the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, and our newest partner, WTTW, for their continued support. Tune in to watch WTTW's presentation of Night Out in the Parks, The Stars in Your Backyard. The series of broadcast performances will feature 17 of our Night Out performers. Connect with Chicago's rich and cultural scene through our virtual series, Your Night Out at Home. Each week will premiere new digital performances by local artists. From dance and jazz to theater and world music, enjoy engaging entertainment in your own backyard, balcony, or living room at www.nightoutintheparks.com. Until we meet again, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you at the park really soon.
What's up, guys? We're Marimacha Monarca Press,
aka MMP.
And we're a trans and queer collective of artists and educators based on the southwest side of Chicago.
And this is our tutorial on print pollination, otherwise known as seed paper making for your night out at home, or your deck, or your stoop.
Or like us, in your living room. So we're going to start off introducing the main components of this, which is the seeds that we are going to be using in our paper making process. We have here a milkweed pod, which contains all of the seeds for the milkweed plant. And the milkweed plant is really important because it is the prime habitat for the monarch caterpillars. So the caterpillar eggs are laid onto the milkweed plant, and they live there and they feast there until they crystallize and come out as butterflies. And the really cool thing about these pods is that these are actually forageable or harvestable at your local parks, at a lot of them, because of recent conservation efforts for the grasslands. And you can tell when they're ready when they turn from a green to like this dark, dry, gray brown. And a lot of times they just crack open and you can see the fuzzies, which are within themselves really good pollinators.
Yeah, or you could wear it as a beard or a mustache. You can do whatever you like. We also have purple coneflower seeds. And this flower grows along the trail that the monarchs migrate from Canada to Mexico. And it's really great because the monarchs can feast on the flower while they also pollinate the flower, and it makes a great symbiotic relationship. Just learn that word.
So yeah, what we want you guys to keep in mind while working through this project is that once you're done making with the paper, to use the paper to write your intentions and your radical visions for yourself, for your community, and then watch these manifest as you actually plant them and they grow. The best time to do this, if you're going to be doing this at home, would be to plant your paper around fall. But if you're going to be doing this outside, in your yard, in the park, in that empty lot on your neighborhood, the best time to do that is in spring. So yeah, I think that about sums everything up. And
that's all, folks.
So yeah, let's get started.
Hey everybody, we're going to start with our first step, which is making our mold and decal. Here I have 2 frames. They are the same size. We got them from the dollar store. For affordability, they are literally $1, which is great. Also, they are very porous material, which is what you want because we're going to be stapling through it. So if you don't go to the Dollar Tree and you go somewhere else, just make sure that it's porous material. Don't get any metal. Then we're going to remove the back. And these little metal guys that usually hold the frame together, I just bend them upward so they don't get in the way. But if you wanted to, you could just like take some pliers and take them out. But I am not going to do that extra step because I'm lazy. Then once you have all of these folded outward, you are going to get your mesh, which is just regular mesh. You can get it anywhere from any hardware store, or you can steal it from your dad's garage, the way Moni did it. Now, when we're stapling our mesh onto the frame, we want to make sure that it's kind of outward a little bit. It sticks out a little bit on both ends, this end and this end. Just because we're going to want to pull it, we want to be able to have that option, and you'll see why. And you're going to cut the amount that you need. This is pretty good. I'll probably cut a little bit off the sides in a bit. Then you are going to want your stapler. We have like kind of this industrial stapler that we borrowed from a friend. Like these big staplers are really what you want. Something big. Not your like regular like office stapler, that would be bad. And then you're going to want to hold on one side. You're going to want to pull this way. And then staple here. And at the center, you're going to do that horizontally. Let me just make sure I'm doing it right, because I literally did this wrong before filming this. Okay, so staple down. You can see staple possibly. And then I'm going to pull from this side. Oops. Step out the center. And there you have it. This mesh is going to allow the pulp to get caught, and then when you put this over, this is what's going to shape the size of your paper. Ta-da!
For the second part of our papermaking process and the actual papermaking process, we will require our pre-made mold and decal. We will need our recycled paper. In this case, I've decided to soak it, and it hasn't been soaked for too long, only during the process of making the mold and decal. That's because it's pretty thin paper. We'll need our local and native seeds, a blender, a towel or a couple of towels depending on how many papers you're going to make, and then some sponge to extract some of the extra fluids. And of course you'll need your basin with some water already in there. Make sure that this basin is large enough to hold your mold and decal inside. This will come later. Another thing to note is that we'll also need a heavy object. In this case, we've chosen a book. And this is to flatten our paper. Also will come later. And for some aesthetic, we've decided to go with some finely chopped cut paper for confetti or like alternating color designs. And I'll explain a little more about this later as well. So the first step is we grab our water and paper mixture and we put it in the blender. The ratio isn't too complicated. The point is that you just want your paper to make a smooth pulp. So there aren't exact measurements per se. There's not any big chunks in it. It's considered ready. We're gonna grab our pulp. Pour it into our basin with some water in it. The reason why there's water in it, it's because you want there to be mobility to your pulp. And you will see why in a second. So at this point, we've only blended our paper. And now this is when we get to add, you know, some of that cute stuff. I'm gonna add a little bit of some gold flecks or whatever. A little bit of some cute purple. We're also gonna add some seeds. So for this, I am personally just gonna go with some of our milkweed seeds. And you want these to be one of the last things you add because you want them to float at top because that's the area that you're gonna have the most access to. So there you go. Should look something like that. You're gonna grab your mold and decal. Before you submerge it, so this is gonna capture some of that pulp, some of these things that you've laid out on top. You wanna make sure to give it a quick stir with your hand. And this is so that the pulp doesn't stay at the bottom. You want it to be floating. And then grab your mold in an angle and you submerge it and you slowly lift it once you see that there is enough cut on your decal, on your screen. So it should look something like this. At this point, you're just going to let it drain a little. You can also expedite the draining by slightly tapping or going through the back of it with your sponge and then just draining it inside the same mixture. Once you think it's ready, once you think it's released most of its liquid, you remove the top mold. Get your towel ready. And you place your frame upside down. Quickly grab your sponge, remove the last bit. Make sure not to add a lot of pressure. You don't want the fibers of the paper to get stuck on the mold themselves. You just kind of want to relieve some water from the mixture. And then you gently pull up, and it might require a small amount of scraping or tugging at the corners to remove the paper. But you want to do that gently so that you don't tear at it. I'm going to lay it flat. Grab your other piece of paper or your other piece of towel. In this case, we just have a long running towel. And fold it over. Then place your heavy object on top until you make the next piece of paper.